Welcome to a special Radio Radio X music video interview. I am your host, Justin Smulison, proud contributor here at Radio Radio X. I've got a streak going for Powerhouse Drummer interviews, and I'm keeping it going with Shawn Duncan. Shawn is one of the founding members of Odin, a fantastic metal band out of California. He is also with several groups, including DC4 and Social Disorder, which is a fantastic collective of musicians that began in Sweden. And he's also the touring drummer for LA Guns. And we're going to talk about all those projects. And quick plug, LA Guns will be on tour in the US. They're first going to start on the Monsters of Rock cruise in March 2025. And then they will be on tour in the US, like we said, starting April 22nd in Pennsylvania. And for all of you local Radio Radio X audience members and readers, the second show, April 23rd, they will be at the Riviera Theater in North Tonawanda. And this tour will continue through May 24th and conclude there in Denver, Colorado. So we're going to talk about all of these projects, what it's like to be the touring drummer for LA Guns ahead of the new album called Leopard Skin, which will be out in 2025, and all the hype around Social Disorder and what it takes to keep all these projects going. He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. I think you're going to love this interview. So let's get to it. Radio Radio X audiences worldwide, please welcome Shawn Duncan. Shawn Duncan. Welcome, Shawn.
How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Very good. We chat periodically through the interweb, and you're just a fun guy. You're a great drummer, and I love talking to you. This is, I think, the second time that we're talking, and a lot has changed since then. I think it was about 2 years ago.
It's been a bit.
Yeah. So right after we last spoke, you were named as the new drummer for LA Guns. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a good time.
Yeah. How's the vibe in LA Guns right now?
Dude, it's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very happy family. Let's just put it that way. Everybody gets along wonderfully. I was good friends with Johnny and Ace prior, and Tracy, because when I went out with Bullet Boys, we shared a bus with Tracy and Rudy Sarza in Gunzo, and me and Tracy became friends on that run. So I knew those three already. I just had to get to know Phil, and what a pleasure it's been, because he's an awesome guy.
Phil Lewis, the singer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's great. He can do what we would call some Robert Plantronics, can't he?
Yeah, you know, he amazes me, to be honest with you, because he still sounds like Phil Lewis.
Right.
You know, and you know, he's been singing for God knows how long, you know, decades. And most people's voices, they just don't have it anymore. And that's just, you know, it's a physical thing. You can't blame anybody. You know what I'm saying?
It's your voice changes over time. Your throat might expand.
Dude, he's still every night. You know, he's out there and hits it, and it's really a pleasure to play with him.
Yeah,
all of it.
And I met Ace briefly on the Mega Cruise about 5 years ago. He was a character. He's all tatted up, but you could tell that's a rock and roller right there when you see that guy.
Oh yeah, Ace is real deal, and a great guy, and me and him love our pit bulls, so we share that.
I was just gonna say, you love your pets. I see it all the time out there. I think that's an extra bonding experience for the two of you, isn't it?
Especially from the dog aspect. So you know, everybody in this band has a pet or two.
Oh, okay.
And Johnny's got a couple cats. Phil's got a cat for sure. I don't know if he has more than one. And Tracy's got a couple cats, and then me and I have a cat and a dog, and Ace has got his dog. He's down to one now, but I foresee a pit bull farm in his future.
Yeah, well, maybe you start another side project called LA Pets. See how that goes.
There we go. We could do a copy of the Pet Sounds album.
Yeah, there you go. Just metal it up for us.
There you go.
So it was fascinating because you joined LA Guns. You are listed as the live drummer on Black Diamonds. So in the next album that's coming out in presumably 2025, we're going to hear what Shawn Duncan's bringing into the studio for LA Guns, right?
No, I didn't play on this one.
Oh, really?
I did not play on this one, and it'll be out in March. but basically I'm a live guy is
Okay.
what it looks like. I was open to doing some, but there's a working relationship between Tracy and Adam. Adam produces everything, and he also plays drums. So
Okay.
it I think the it speeds up the process and the convenience of it to a
Yeah, sure.
certain degree. But nonetheless, I'll be out there on the road with it.
And you sound like you're content with that dynamic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have liked to banged out a couple of them, and but is what it is.
All right. Well, I didn't mean to be presumptive there. So if you want me to cut
No,
that, I'll
no,
cut it.
no,
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 okay.
no.
All right, cool. Well, still, you're out on the road. You did a tour with LA Guns did a tour with KK's Priest in early 2024, right?
Yes.
How was that?
So it was phenomenal. And Burning Witches was on the bill as well,
Mm-hmm.
and it was interesting because Burning Witches is a metal band, kind of priestish in a way, and then there was LA Guns, and then there was KK's Priest. So we were kind of in the middle of like a heavy metal sandwich, right?
Yeah.
And so we played a heavier set, and it went over great, and we had a blast, and KK's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the tour, I was in the dressing room. I was alone in our dressing room, and I was sitting there getting my stuff together. And he came into the dressing room, and he goes, "Where's everybody else?" I go, "Oh, I think they're on the bus." And he goes, "Well, I want to thank you for being on the tour, blah blah blah." And I'm like looking at KK down
Yeah.
again. And the funny story though is I met KK years ago at an Odin show. We played at the country club in Reseda, and Rob Halford, KK, and Dave Holland and came to the show.
Huh.
Halford has come to a few Odin shows, and I have an Odin bumper sticker from the time Odin don't take no for an answer, and they've all signed it. And I
Uh-huh.
was telling him about that, and I go, kind of a full circle moment here,
Yeah.
Uh, and he signed my you know artist badge for me. I said, "Can you sign this for me?"
Yeah.
And he just smiled. He's just a really really nice guy. Yeah, so it was really pleasure. And then the whole band are all just like him. They're all a bunch of awesome people. So
Yeah.
it was really really fun.
Ripper's the singer for KK's Priest, right?
Oh yeah,
How was he? He
and
was cool?
oh dude, very much so.
Yeah.
Came out on stage with us, I think twice. Really likes the band, and it was impressive. And man, we'd be there at sound check, listening to him sound check, and he just killing it, in the morning.
Yeah. That's
You're just like,
excellent.
this is just not surreal. Every night he crushed. It was the whole band did. It was really, really fun. And what was great, did you see KK's Priest? Have you seen them yet?
I haven't seen them live, no.
Yeah. What I really loved about the show is that he really digs into like they play like Beyond the Realms of Death, and you know, uh uh nothing after Breaking the Law.
Oh, really? So he's going in back
Yeah, going
catalog
deep
and
cut.
deeper
Yeah.
cuts.
Deep cut metal. And it was really neat because, that those are some of the records me and my brother were listening to that,
Oh, sure.
kicked
Yeah.
us off, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it was great to just to see all that. And yeah, it was a blast. The tour was a lot of fun.
That's excellent. And without giving away the store, why don't you tell us? Well, there are some things you can give away about LA Guns because in 2025 you will be in Europe for at least some confirmed dates, right?
Yeah, we're playing the Trondheim Festival in Norway with Iron Maiden.
Wow.
Yeah. There's only 8 bands on that bill too, which is rad. And the other headliner is Hailstorm.
Okay.
And that's in Norway. And then the next day we play Sweden Rock in Sweden. And then after that, I know I know we're going. That starts like June 5th is the first date. That's the
Mhm.
Trondheim date. And then I know as of right now, it looks like we're in Europe until about the 25th to the 26th of June. So there's a lot more dates coming.
That's excellent. And then there are some yet to be announced US and North America dates, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that will it looks like it starts in April,
Hmm.
around late April, and that'll probably go, into May, mid May, maybe later. I don't know, but I
All
know
right.
that like the dates are starting to come in,
Hmm.
but I can't say anything until we make final announcements until they're solidified.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna plug those at the top and the bottom of this interview when they are confirmed. And this way we give LA Guns a little bit of a boost here in the US. We got to support our American rock bands, right?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Speaking of American rock bands, let's talk about this band right here, DC4.
Yeah.
That is if you really want the perfect blend of what's called mega rock, where it's in between metal and rock, somewhere in there with a nice little punch and edge. That's where DC4 comes in. And I tell you this every time. Atomic Highway, your last album, I believe, is the most recent album. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. It's
I
great.
still think
I
that,
love that album.
yeah. And you really kick it into high gear there on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that has a lot to do with my brother when he would send me ideas and then he'd put his crazy drums on it.
Remind
And
everybody
then
who your brother is. Remind them who it is.
Jeff Duncan,
Jeff Duncan,
from Armored Saint,
Marmite, and
and
from
Odin.
and Odin. There you go.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's obviously a favorite guitarist and songwriter of mine because I'm a huge Armored Saint fan, as you know. And but DC4 is not just, oh cool, the guy from Armored Saint did something. It's a real band that has a great catalog, and you have a sound that I can very easily get behind. And Atomic Highway, I mean, you really, that song in particular, let's talk about that one for a second. You're doing some double kick there. You're really working it.
yeah. That one, it's a machine.
Yeah. And it's about a machine, isn't it?
Yeah, it pretty much is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, we did a video for that one,
Mhm.
and again, Jeff sent me the idea, and it had all kinds of double bass all over it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm playing. All right, I get it. I see what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I just dug in deep to some of my old Cozy Powell, Kill the King type stuff, and that's kind of what it is. Actually, the main kick pattern is based off Kill the King by Rainbow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Huh.
if you put that on later, you'll hear the kick pattern. It's similar. So that's because Cozy was a huge influence, especially that album. But that's what I heard when he sent it to me. I'm like, oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do here.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by double kick. And I've shown videos to my kids because they're into music, they're into orchestra and stuff. I said, "Hey, you guys want to see a cool, a drum video?" I'll show them Drumeo, I think it's called.
Yeah. Dromio's great.
Yeah, and when they focus on the feet and my kids see the drummers going like that, their eyes light up. They go, "How is that possible?" And I
Yeah,
always wonder when you have to when you do that. I'm sure it's an exercise, right?
yeah,
It's a fun challenge. Is that safe to assume?
yeah. I think so. And I bounce my left hi hat a lot when I play anyway, so it's just kind of the same feel as if you're doing that. You just start kind of going where it goes. After a while, it becomes second nature.
Right.
You know what I mean? But learning when I was younger, it's a challenge because it's a different way of making sounds you want to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's impressive. I mean, there's stuff people are doing out there that I'm like, okay, well, you can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I have to assume that you hear some death metal, let's just say. And even if you don't love death metal, I totally appreciate the drumming on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my son is a huge death metal guy,
Oh, yeah.
and he can do all that stuff, right? He can do all the blast beats and all that stuff, and I'm like, how do you do that?
Well, Dad, take a seat. Let me show you something.
Yeah, let me show you this. So yeah, but well, I remember years ago when Lombardo came out that and just blew everybody away with what he was doing,
Yeah.
and that's it doesn't get much better than that. Everybody, it's gone up several levels with a lot of people,
Right.
but that's, if I had to throw where that came from, I have to go to Lombardo.
Yeah, I would likely agree with you there. So I mean, a lot's changed since the last time we talked about DC4, only because I think maybe the last time we really got into it, no, the pandemic was happening, and it's technically still happening in some ways, but because I just got over COVID. So the question is, though, is DC4 working on some stuff that might see the light of new stuff that might see the light of day?
I think it's possible. Jeff, Armored Saints had an extremely busy year. I think they're on their third tour.
Yeah.
They were out with Queensryche, then they went to Europe, and now they're back out with Wasp.
Right.
So he's been really tied up. I did a thing with him. I recorded some songs for him that he is working with a woman named Shawn Coey, who's an incredible singer, and we did that. That's recorded. So I think at some point in the near future, once he gets settled back, he's going to start coming up with some ideas and stuff, because it's really he's the primary,
Yeah.
he's the primary songwriter. And it's unfortunately we don't live in the same city anymore,
Oh,
because
okay.
the reason that all this stuff we were able to do so much with DC4 in that time frame that we've done it is Jeff lived here in LA, Matt lives in LA, and at the time Rowan lived in LA. So we had a lockout rehearsal studio, and we would just go there and play, right?
Right.
And that's kind of how it happened. Well, Jeff lives in Vegas now, and so does Rowan. Me and Matt are still out here, so it slowed the process a bit on that kind of stuff. So it's really all about Jeff having a slew of ideas that's quote unquote DC4 material.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. I know that I mean, we all talk frequently, and I know that Roman wants to do a show. So I have a feeling at some point next year, schedules, you know,
Schedules permitting.
permitting, that we'll try to do something.
That's cool. All right,
Yeah.
good, because the more the merrier.
Yeah.
You've got that last album was just so good that you have a song on there called "Something in My Head." It was
Oh, yeah.
also just such a standout track. I
Yeah, it's great.
want something better. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah. It reminds me of Priest a little bit. It reminds me that when I was recording it, I was thinking like Screaming for Vengeance type of an approach,
Yeah,
that album. I love that song. It's a great song.
yeah.
That
It's a
album's really good. It really
I
is a great album. I
I
agree.
think you could play it from front to back if you were to do a live show, and the audience would be just fine. But I would, as a fan, I would ask that you add "Translucent Life" in there, because that's a real cool song.
Yeah, that's a sleeper, man. That one, I always like that song. It's weird because when they printed that album, it's if you notice the track's not listed,
Hmm.
and I think it's listed as Candy Cane when it pops up on the CD. So a lot of people haven't really heard it. Let's just put it that way, or don't know what
Okay.
it is.
Right. But it's got like a Middle Eastern sitar effect at the end there. It's not an actual, is it a different instrument, or did
It's a
Jeff and
sitar.
Rowan just tune it differently?
No, Rowan got a sitar, brought
Oh,
it in.
wow.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, Rowan can play all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Mandolin, it's got strings on it. Rowan can play
Yeah. And just
it.
to fill everybody in, DC4 is Jeff Duncan, Shawn Duncan, Matt Duncan's your cousin.
He's my brother.
He's your brother.
Yeah,
Apologies.
we're all brothers.
You're all brothers. And then you've got you
Rowan
got
Robertson.
Rowan Robertson, and it's essentially a family affair.
Yeah, yeah. Rowan played on the Luck of the Wolves album with Dio when he was 17. So he's just a guitar wizard,
Yeah.
So, but we're all really close, and it's a wonderful band. I like playing the music. It's fun live.
Yeah. Do you, because you're family, does the dynamic change? Can you be more honest or less honest with each other than you could in another band? Like if you don't love something and you want to change it?
I've been working with Jeff for so long. I mean, we grew up, we learned how to play together. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? from Odin to DC4 and bands in between DC4 and Odin, and even to recording now, that we can just tell each other, oh, what do you think of this? And Jeff, when he writes a song, I'll go, hey, I have an idea. What about this? And he's like, let's try it.
Yeah.
He's really like, he's not married to it necessarily, and he wants everybody's input to make, because he thinks it's good, everybody's got something to say. So
It's not a dictatorship.
it's not when it's being put together, it's him putting it together, but he's pulling from everybody.
Right.
So he's like the primary chemist, if you will.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Well, I hope DC4 comes around as well. I remember, I think if you played with, there's so many great bands out there, of course, but if you played a show with like a Danko Jones or Airborne or somebody like that would be a great co-headliner right there.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I love Danko. Yeah, he's great. And if it looks like I'm looking around and not paying attention, folks out there, it's because we were talking before we were rolling. I have 2 DC4 like physical albums. One of them signed by Jeff Duncan. I can't find it for the life of me, and I was holding it 5 minutes before the interview. Anywho, then we got another thing to talk about, Shawn. We got over there. Sorry, there. Social Disorder. Social Disorder has a you premiered a few years back with Love to Be Hated. There it is. I've got that. And you play on most, at least half of the tracks on that one.
99% of that.
Yeah.
90, like I think there's 2 songs I don't play on that one.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the new one is called Time to Rise. It's out right now. And it's on Pride and Joy, right?
Yeah.
And
I think that's a German label.
Yep. And you play on at least 90%. Hey, you play on all of it. There you go.
Yeah, all of it except for I think there's one song that doesn't have drums.
So there you go. So you could just sit back and just go, yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song on the album because I don't have to do
it. Yeah, great guys.
Yeah. And how do you feel about Time to Rise? You loving it?
Yeah, I like both the records a lot. It's funny because the first album, here's some background on it. So Anders, who's the primary songwriter of all of this, he lives in Sweden. And when I did the Bullet Boys tour that Tracy was on with Gunzo, they were a Bion band called Killer Bee. He was the one of the primaries of the band, and we became really good friends on the road. And matter of fact, Paul Chapman played guitar with him from UFO, and he sent me they called me not too long after that, and I went and did a tour with them as a drummer in the UK in like 2000. I want to say 17, 18, somewhere 17. Anyway, he hit me up and I recorded a Killer Bee album after that. And then he sent me all these demos and he goes, hey, I want you to see if you could throw some drums to these, right? And they're very rough. They weren't to a click. It was very rough. And so I go into the studio and I sit with this guy I work with and Christian, and he tries to like put it to some sort of a grid, but it wasn't going to cooperate. I said, dude, I'll just play with it. Right. So I just played with it. I sent him the tracks back, and then he sent me more. I sent the tracks back. I didn't really think anything of it. I thought I was helping him out with a demo. Then he hits me up. He says, hey, Tracy's going to play guitar on this. And I go, on what? He goes, the stuff you sent me. And I go, dude, I was just kind of like, he goes, no, it's great. It's great. And I go, okay. And then he calls me and then he goes, Rudy Sarzo's going to play bass on this.
Wow.
And I go, dude, I'd really like to redo those parts. Because at this point it had been like several months since I recorded them. So I didn't even know what I'd done.
Right.
My mentality was I'm just helping out with a demo. So anyway, long story short, he has a singer who's incredible. Thomas Norton is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then he got Dave Stone to play keyboards on it. And Dave Stone was played on Long Live Rock and Roll by Rainbow and Rainbow Live.
Wow.
Right. So I'm like, here I am playing with these guys, right? It was really awesome. And the record came out really good.
Yeah.
And then we did the second one. And the second one I also recorded completely remotely to demos during COVID.
Right.
All of that was recorded during COVID. And again, everybody did it remotely because he's in Sweden. Me and Rudy and Tracy are in LA. Thomas lives in Sweden. And I think Dave lives in New York. I want to say he's out here somewhere, I think. So it's like a worldwide project that just kind of came together. It was a lot of fun. But that's the backstory on it, because it goes way back,
Yeah.
And it's all about being friends and having a good time and making music.
One of my favorite moments is because the first time I heard it, I kind of chuckled, and the question is, are you high? And then he says, are you high on life? Like, are you high? You could say, if you're just reading the lyrics, you just go, oh, what's he asking?
Yeah, I know. It's funny. He's a good lyricist and comes up with stuff like that. And you're just like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah. And I was listening to it while driving. That was the first time I heard it. And I just went, oh. It was just one of those things. It put a smile on my face. It's a great album. In some ways, maybe even a little bit more operatic than Love to Be Hated.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that has a lot to do with Thomas. And Thomas had a lot more, like when when he did the first record, it was kind of the same situation. We were all kind of like doing others a favor, or yeah, why not? It sounds like fun, right? But then it did really well out there. And then next time he sent us songs, we all took it a little more serious. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. We're like, okay, well, this might end up,
right,
as a record. So,
And here's the thing. I'm gonna pull up the picture of the album in a second. Hold on one second. I got a notice something here. Here's the album cover.
Yeah.
For Time to Rise. Shawn, did they just put you in a archangel suit and say, stand right there, we're gonna draw you?
That's funny. Yeah, they should. I'd love to be that. I wish I had wings.
Yeah.
And not only that, but my preferred reading is knights and dragons,
well,
demons and stuff. Yeah. So
hey, we need a super handsome dude with a goatee. Shawn, stand over there.
Over there, man. Dress up like an angel.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, no, that never crossed your mind? Hey, name, image, likeness rights here, buddy. Nothing like that.
That's right. Hey, do I get an extra portion for that?
Yeah. Hold that pose.
Right.
You mentioned something fascinating though, because with LA Guns and even DC4, well, let's back up. I'm not going to make any presumptions. Is it sometimes easier when you don't know what's going to happen? And if the pressure's off, do you think that sometimes you or somebody might make better music like that?
If you think about it, when you're a kid, you just kind of play.
Yeah.
Right. You just kind of play. And when your brain starts to interfere, that's when things get ridiculous sometimes, right? You overthink, you get scared, you get nervous, or you think, oh, I could have done better. And then everybody in the studio's going, no.
Yeah.
Right? No, don't touch it. And you're like, there's a saying, and and that's because it comes out a little better that way. And I'll tell you one thing, digital recording has taken an immense amount of pressure off of drummers.
Yeah.
Because when I did the Odin records, was all 24 track.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to know the song from front to back. There wasn't any of this cut and paste stuff. Right. Occasionally they could punch you in, but if there was a cymbal noise going over, they couldn't punch you in. So talk about pressure. There's stories. There's lots of stories of drummers crying, throwing drumsticks, breaking shit, and it's very real.
Yeah.
And then it also makes, Neil Peart and Roger Taylor and Cozy Powell and all these guys superhuman
Right,
when
right,
you realize what they were doing, right?
right,
Bonham.
right, right.
So, but with digital, the first time I recorded digital, I think I can't remember what album it was, but um, I remember playing, and then I kept stopping, and I kept stopping, and I was with Bill Matoyer. It was a DC4 record.
Oh yeah, that guy's great. He does Armored Saint stuff too, right?
Yeah, I was
Yeah, yeah.
saying Slayer, and he goes, Shawn, you know I can punch you in from like if you make a mistake, just play through it. Don't worry about it. We can come back and fix it. And I'm like, what?
All right.
And ever since then, man, recording has been fun.
Oh wow, look at it. I wasn't
Yeah, just
expecting it to take this right turn, basically.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
now it's fun because you can even say, well, I'm going to try this, and see.
Right,
And then if it doesn't work, it didn't work. You just get rid of it,
right.
and replace it. You play something else, and it makes that you can hear it back faster. You can make decisions quicker on what you're not going to do or what you're going to do, and it doesn't waste a lot of studio time.
Yeah,
That kind of stuff would waste incredible amounts of studio time, and so it's really taken a massive amount of pressure off drummers. And I for one am grateful.
that's excellent. That's super cool. You always wonder about that. It's different strokes for different folks, but for Shawn Duncan, it's a pleasurable experience. I think that's
Yeah, it
great.
is. It's fun.
Yeah,
I love recording personally. I really
yeah,
do enjoy it.
yeah. I'm trying to look to see who recorded you for "Love to Be Hated." Do you remember?
Yeah, Christian.
I'm looking for his name here.
Can't remember his last name right now. We recorded it at this little studio that's gone now, unfortunately. I used to use it a
Pawn
lot.
Shop Recording Studio. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
it was a great little studio. A lot of drummers used it. A lot of people recorded there, and it's gone now.
Oh, that's too
But
bad.
that's where we recorded it. But
Super cool.
that was his kit. He had this really beautiful set of DWs in there, and my snare and my cymbals. And I would go in there, man, and just knock it out in a couple hours. We'd have, 5, 6 songs done. I'd go home, and then Anders would send me more, and I'd go in there and knock them out.
Wow.
And then the engineer would send all the tracks back and forth, and it was great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of bands do it now. I remember even watching uh, Overkill does it that way. They just put the stuff in the Dropbox and they just listen to it
Yeah.
and yeah.
It's-
Also wanted to ask you something because we you seem to love drumming and drummers. I recall at one point you might have done some shows drumming for maybe a Soundgarden tribute band or a Cornell tribute band. Is that right?
yeah. A
Yeah.
Soundgarden tribute. And I do an Alice in Chains tribute often.
Right.
I play with an Alice in Chains tribute called Memory Lane.
So then this is something I wanted to ask you about. You got two powerhouse drummers who I don't think will ever be recognized for as good as they are and were. Matt Cameron and Sean Kinney. What did you pick up from learning their stuff?
The That's why I like playing it. That's the
Yeah,
whole reason I do the Alice in Chains tribute. Part of it, the guys are great in the band, and they do a great job. But it's I love the way Sean Kenny's plays, and I always have. He's got an incredible feel, great groove, and he's creative. Right, those two, both of them, extremely creative drummers.
yeah,
Right, and powerful. And I'm a power drummer. I not that's the kind of stuff I like. I like stuff that attacks, and
yeah,
that's the way I play. And so those songs and I mean, grunge. Some people give it a bad name. But it's like, no, there's so much really, really good stuff that came out, especially from those two bands.
yes,
You know,
because they were the heavier of the bunch.
Yeah, they were the Black Sabbath of the bunch. Yeah.
Totally, yeah. But even a song that is not heavy, but in my opinion, probably very complex, if you're doing Alice in Chains, would be No Excuses because you got to be all over the place.
Yeah, the what he's doing from the hi hat to the snare,
Yeah.
and then there's the tom thrown in, and then it's like the pattern and the parts are so. I don't even know if they're thought out because you can't get much information on Kenny. He doesn't do a lot of interviews. There's not a lot out there on him, so
Right.
I don't know how his process is. Some guys will talk, and you can kind of figure him out a little bit. Impossible with him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just a natural him just letting go, or if he's a thinker, right?
Right.
Who patterns it all together and then does it. I don't know how he does it, but what he comes up with, I mean, there's so much stuff that is.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Alice in Chains, like you listen to Dirt, you there's he pulls back so far sometimes to where it's almost in the past beat, and
Yeah.
then he'll push it forward and pull. There's so much push and pull, which is what kind of makes them what they are.
Yeah.
Um, it's almost it's difficult to when you're learning it. It's difficult to learn because if you're trying to like I learn songs by playing with the drummer. I don't read. I can read marching band music. I can't read drum music.
Right.
You know, it
Yeah.
looks like spaghetti to me. It's like my ADD goes crazy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh. And so I learned by with headphones and actually playing. And when you're playing to that, and the pullback start, you start thinking, "Am I off or what's going on here?" But that's the nature of the style
Yeah.
and what makes them freaking great. Where on the other hand, you have Matt Cameron that's just a freaking metronome and well schooled, well educated drummer who I heard would write out his entire songs.
Oh, so
Uh,
he's a thinker.
yeah, he's that's exactly right. And but he's not using this when he's playing. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
He's definitely like the stuff he came up with. I mean, Black Hole Sun in and of itself, the drums on that are just you can't get any more perfect on that song or on many songs than what he's doing on that from a hard rock standpoint. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's phenomenal, and yeah, it's challenging to learn.
I'll bet you because I'm thinking you could I have every confidence that you could do it very, very well. But is it a rush for you to play a song like Rusty Cage?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
or Jesus Christ Post.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, insane song right there.
Yeah, yeah, it's like they feel so good once you've learned it. They feel so good to play.
Yeah.
One, you're stoked that you can play it, and two, they're just bulldozers.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, good fun. I love both those drummers a lot.
Yeah. Have you ever met them?
I have not met either one of them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
which sucks. I'd like
yeah.
to.
Yeah. I think you've earned it. You've earned
Yeah, I'd like to.
you've earned the opportunity to sit down with them, chat, pick their
Yeah,
brain, have a beer or something like that. I think that'd be cool.
right?
Yeah.
That'd
That's
be
excellent.
phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, and that's cool. Do you still do that sort of thing, or is it just every once in a while if it comes up?
When I'm off the road, I do the mostly the Alice in Chains thing. The Soundgarden thing was too hard to get a Chris Cornell.
Oh, I could see where that would be an issue. He has one
Yeah,
of the more unique voices.
yeah, and but like in the Alice in Chains tribute, there's two subs that'll play when I'm not there,
Mhm.
so the band could keep going.
Right, right, right.
But if I'm going to be gone, and I was trying to do the Soundgarden thing, and then it's like you have these huge gaps of time, and you don't have too many people that can fill a Chris Cornell spot and a Matt Cameron spot. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It just it didn't work. Unfortunately, we did one gig, but I was just stoked to be able to do it. So
That's cool. All
yeah,
right, that's cool.
and I've done a couple of songs like at jams and stuff since then. So I can still play those songs because I learned them.
Right.
And sometimes when I want to practice, when I go up in my room, I'll throw on some Soundgarden, play to that.
Yeah, yeah. You do some Super Unknown right there.
Yeah,
Just get
great.
that one grooving.
Yeah.
So, Shawn, I'm going to let you go in a little bit, but I didn't ask, and I should. Do you think Social Disorder has any shows coming up, or is that just too difficult logistically to get it all together?
Yeah, I think logistically it's virtually impossible. It would take a lot of money, and it would require me and Tracy and Rudy to fly out. If it ever happened, it would have to be a festival that had some serious money.
Right. Right.
It would be really expensive to do.
Yeah. I mean, and then
It's not
I
just
guess,
from a musician level, it's the whole process. It's getting
right.
us there. We'd have to rehearse, stay, it's a long drawn
Yeah.
out thing, and schedules.
Right. And I would think LA Guns would have to be there also just to help trim some of the costs down a little bit, just so that you
Yeah,
could all be there.
that would help, That would
It would
help.
help. I don't know if hopefully it happens one day if Social Disorder does some shows. And is
Yeah.
it because the newest album, Time to Rise, is successful and it's up for some awards, the best of, do you think that there will be a third album from Social Disorder?
Sure there will be.
Yeah.
I talk to Anders frequently, and he sent me something that said he was well, he said something the other day that he's working on new songs, and then when he sent out the group text with the award, Rudy texted back, "I'm ready for the next one." So,
Right. Okay. There you go.
more than likely there will be another one.
Excellent. Well, then that sounds like if you're, oh, and then like we said, Odin has a show or shows that you want to mention, right?
Yeah, we're playing the Rainbow Party in LA here in Hollywood, and it's the outdoor show. They do like 2 a year, 2 big ones. We're playing with Michael Monroe and Faster Pussycat and Black Oak, Arkansas, and I can't remember who else. There's like 6 bands on that bill. I
Nice.
think we go on right before Faster and then Michael Monroe. So that'll be the first one we've done since like 2019, I think, 18 or 19. So you never know, with Odin's always been an anomaly. So you never know if we were going to do something else, or you never know what's going to happen. I think we're going to see how this show goes, and just go have some fun and be kids.
Yeah. Do you know the date of that show?
It's April. I think it's April 13th.
Okay, great.
It's
April
funny.
3rd. Got time for that one then.
Yeah. Well, I booked it, because I talked to Guns management. I said, "Hey, we're going to be free, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Well, we are going to be, going out, but we don't know yet." Talk to Tracy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to book it and cross my fingers. And my first dates with Guns I think it starts on the 21st of April.
Right.
So it's like the next week, which is awesome.
No,
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So
keeps you
I get to
busy.
go. What's that?
It keeps you busy.
Yeah, man, you got to stay busy. It's that's why try to do as many things as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like recording. I like playing my drums.
There you go. It's a simple life philosophy right there. Do what you love and just
that's right.
And practice and get good at it. That's it. Well, Shawn, it's been such a pleasure to connect with you again. And I don't go anywhere just yet. I'm just going to press stop. But any last thing, anything you want to say to the fans of any of these bands or of you personally?
Just keep an eye out, man. Guns will be out. We're going out. I know we're leaving I just said around April 21st. I think it's the first date, and we'll be going through America. I know we're going out with another band. I can't mention that yet. And then we're going to Europe, and so I'll be out and about. If you see me, you want to bring any Odin thing for me to sign, I'll sign it. DC4, whatever. Love to see you guys, and enjoy the music.
There it is. All right, Shawn Duncan, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.
Special thanks again to Shawn Duncan of Social Disorder and LA Guns and DC4 and Odin for joining us here today on Radio X. The latest album from Social Disorder is called Time to Rise, and it is available worldwide from our friends at Pride and Joy Music. At the top, you heard a clip of one of the tracks off of Time to Rise called High on Life, which we mentioned during the interview. And now you are hearing a clip of the powerful title track off of Time to Rise. Links to Social Disorder's social media sites are on this interview's show notes, as well as those for DC4 and Odin. And of course, we got to talk about LA Guns. The new album from LA Guns will be titled Leopard Skin. It will be available everywhere on April 4th from our friends at Cleopatra Records. LA Guns has a lot of tour dates in the US that I'm going to discuss in just a moment. Their first batch of shows will be March 10th through the 15th, 2025, starting in Miami, Florida, because they will be one of the bands on the Monsters of Rock cruise. Wish I was there for that one. Then beginning in April, starting April 22nd, 2025, LA Guns will be in Warrendale, Pennsylvania at Juggles Rhythm Grill, and they've got lots of tour dates that will take them through May 24th, 2025 at the Oriental Theater in Denver, Colorado. And they will also be playing the Rock the Dam 2025 in Beaver Dam, Kentucky on July 26th. And for those of you who comprise our local Radio X audience, LA Guns will be at the Riviera Theater in North Tonawanda, New York, April 23rd, 2025. Links to lagunsmusic.com and their tour dates are on this interview's notes. And as always, remember to make legitimate purchases of the music, merch, and tickets to support hardworking artists like Shawn Duncan. Be sure to head on over to RadioRadioX.com for all things music. We've got reviews, we've got interviews, we've got all sorts of great content. I hope you'll check out some of my other music interviews, including an interview with another powerhouse drummer, Jason Bittner of Category 7 and Shadows Fall. I've also got interviews with John Bush, the singer of Category 7 and Armored Saint, and Flotsam and Jetsam guitarist Michael Gilbert, and more. I'd like to thank Art and Rob and everyone over there at the RadioRadioX headquarters. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and all social channels. And be sure to keep coming back to RadioRadioX.com for more updates. I've got more video interviews on the way as well. I am Justin Smulison, new contributor here at RadioRadioX. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's more on the way.